Welcome to a very special conversation. Today I'm sitting down with two artists who not only shaped their own creative lives, but also helped shape mine. I've flown out from New York to visit them in Shawnee, Colorado, a small mountain town nestled 75 miles southwest of Denver along Route 285, where they have built a life and a career of over more than 50 years. They live and work surrounded by the wilderness, where the forest brushes up against their studio and clay dust trails across the wooden floors. They are potters, painters, dreamers, and also my parents. Their names are Vincent and Carolyn Tolpo. Vincent is a sculptor of form and fire, equally at home behind a potter's wheel or a canvas. Carolyn is a painter of light and spirit, known for her naturalistic abstracts, and a master jeweler whose hands move seamlessly between color, clay, and precious metal. This interview offers just a glimpse into the day in the life of two artists who are married, who work side by side, and who have spent decades doing the work they love together. Let's meet the Tolpos.
Well, as a kid, I always loved to color and cut out my paper dolls. Just helped my dad a lot around the house, building things. When I saw my parents being very creative, when they would want something and couldn't afford it, they would figure out how to make it. So I grew up in that direction, went on into high school and college, and decided to become a teacher of art. I had one course in college of pottery. It was always such a mysterious, scientific sounding thing to me. You know, I didn't have a lot of chemistry, so I was not involved, but curious. And then when I got one of my teaching contracts in Illinois, then I had to teach it, and I had to remember everything, what I did, how to do it. And we were building the program as we went along, and I was just always one step ahead of the kids. And we'd go over to school very often in the evenings to practice and learn. They all thought I had it knocked, but I really didn't. I was just staying ahead of them for pottery.
Before I even started making any kind of art, I was the subject of my parents' art. Both my parents were artists, and they would paint my portrait, and I would sit as the subject and watch them paint. We were all part of the process in one way or another, as subjects and as observers. But also for personally, when I started, it was coloring. When I was 6, it was coloring rocks in the campground in Yellowstone. We would go to Yellowstone. My father, Carl Tolpo, painted the Yellowstone. So the whole family would go and camp.
All summer, you'd stay all summer,
and
right?
We'd be there all summer. My sister and I would sell them to tourists. Pottery happened in high school as a freshman. I just started it, and I remember making a chess set of life-size, not life-size, but really good sized figures. The presidential race between Barry Goldwater and was it
Hubert Humphrey? Yeah.
Or just Johnson.
Yeah.
Lyndon Johnson and Barry Goldwater. And so for Barry Goldwater, all the pawns were little bombs.
Oh, geez.
And for Johnson, they were all coins. And so I sculpted all these things. It took me all year to make it. And then the teacher overfired the kiln and melted them all down to nothing.
Oh, God.
And the poor teacher was in tears. And I remember saying to the teacher, "No problem, don't worry about it, I'll make another one." Right. Because I discovered that it was the making that was interesting to me.
The passion.
And not the product.
I would imagine it, but not imagine that it would be possible. You know, how on earth could we do it? Where would we live? We decided then we didn't want to live in Illinois doing this, and we both wanted to come west because of your dream when you were 12. How old were you in the tent? You told your sister?
Oh, my sister tells me that I told her that I would move to the mountains, live in a log cabin, and be married to an artist, which is exactly
self-prophesizing.
It happened exactly that way.
I remember when I met Vince, I would say, "I'm an art teacher." And he said, "No, you say, I am an artist." And I've told this story to many people, would-be artists, or wish they had this kind of lifestyle. You say, "I am an artist," and self-prophesize. You make it happen over and over and over again. And then pretty soon it will. It'll happen.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really good advice for any artist to give a person coming up.
Yeah.
Just keep saying, don't say I'm a mom and I got 3 kids and I don't know if I could ever do this. You just keep saying, I'm an artist.
And where did I get that notion? Was from Popeye.
Popeye, I am what I am.
I am what I am. I think the forest teaches you integrity, and it teaches you what to expect out of life. And it also teaches you a lot about spirituality, because you're on your own, confronted by the elements, and you learn a lot about yourself under those circumstances. Earth, wind, and fire, and water, you know, all the elements that you need to survive. And out here in the rural forest, not so much as it was 100 years ago, but you still are confronted from time to time with survival requirements. And you have to think ahead a lot. You can't just depend on things being there for you at all times. To survive, you have to have a lot of integrity and belief in yourself, and you have to be honest with yourself. That's what the forest teaches you.
I don't think it's difficult at all. We had made some friends with people involved with environmental issues. And unfortunately, they were in a terrible car accident on the highway. And Jim was killed, and everybody was injured badly. But right away, didn't matter what political party you were, what you did for a living, how old you were, there was a jar for money, and there was a big bucket for food. How can we help the family? And I had never experienced that before living in a major city. I think you're way more isolated in a city.
The process always begins with visualization. And I try to visualize not only what the piece may look like in the end, but also I visualize myself in the process of doing it. And that visualization continues throughout the production of the piece. because you're always altering your visualization, because as soon as you start producing something, you run into variations of the media that you may or may not expect. So you change it changes you. The process is one of visualization and adaptation. And that's where the creativity begins.
You know, if you're doing a painting, it's one thing. But when you're doing a piece of pottery, I always think of form following function all the time with the crafts. Or if I'm making a necklace, form following the function. Is it going to shatter when it hits the table? Is it going to be twisting around and be uncomfortable? So you have to consider the function of an object when you're making an object. When you're doing a painting, that's a very different thing. You're trying to impart and I always think of the essence of the subject, when I'm painting.
I would probably use sand.
I was going to say sand too.
On a desert island.
Okay. Sand sculpture.
Or maybe the frond from the one tree. I don't think I'd take anything. I would work with whatever I found there.
I am an additive person. And that is to say, in sculpture, I don't take away, I add things to build a sculpture. Pottery, you're adding things when you're making the pot. Painting, you're adding subjects, objects, color, or whatever you're doing. And I think that comes from working with my dad in the trades, building things. And so I would probably, like Vince says, whatever it is that's on the island, you'd figure it out because you'd soon run out of your own materials if you brought them. Crafts could be art. Art could be crafts.
Carolyn's right. The differentiation doesn't exist, and it was created by critics and historians to try to pigeonhole the artist. Because even all the great artists in the past did things with other medias that maybe the historians don't want to address because it doesn't fit the pigeonhole that they've put the artist in. So that, I think it's a false equivalent.
Well, first of all, you have to have respect for the other person's ideas and listen to them, because a lot of times they will supersede what you think is your good idea. But I've said before, there's Vince, there's me, and then there's Vince me. There's a third person always that we create when we're working together, because you're learning how to cooperate, be respectful of the other person's ideas, look at other possibilities. And the third person will come to fore and say, I wonder what would happen if we did X, Y, Z.
There's discussion, usually in defense and accusations.
He takes comment, let's say comment about a painting, very well. I don't know, I think I do too. I mean, you listen to the other person. I usually get up and I look around the gallery to see, does this need dusting? Would it look better over here with this object for the display? Make sure that things are corrected from a customer having handled it and moved things around. Then I do the business of the books, which is, takes a little bit of time.
Do you sell in galleries or markets?
We used to sell in galleries, but first of all, they take 50% at least.
We have a presence on Etsy and eBay and Saatchi Art and Fine Art America.
Our website.
We have our own website. A lot of what we make is on special order from people. After all these years, we've been here 44 years, and so we have, every week, we have little orders coming from somewhere. I don't know where where they come from, but they pop up. And so we never say no to anything. We always say yes.
Is that I really enjoy, and I think you do too, Vince, selling, knowing what object you're selling comes from me to you, and you have enjoyed it, and you're excited about taking it home to use it or to look at it or whatever it is. Whereas in a gallery, you're always one step removed. You never know where that's gone. Or you can, I suppose, in certain situations, but it's not absolutely every time. Yeah, the personal connection is wonderful. I enjoy that a lot. Somebody told us when we first were thinking about moving to Colorado and doing this, find an interesting place that people will want to stop and see or look at or ask about, and always keep your prices for your local people to support you, because they will support you through thick and thin, and we have gotten through a lot of thin times.
Most of the people that we do business with, or patrons, are not collecting for the purpose of investment, because we don't have a track record with the auction houses. Since they put out the amount of money that they do, and we keep our pricing reasonable, we also keep it sustainable for us. I already know when they leave the door that they're excited and they enjoy the piece. It's because they're buying it because they like it.
Or they want to use, oh yeah, and especially with pottery. I always say the cup is the most personal thing that they can buy, because you're putting that cup in your mouth every day, drinking your coffee or milk or whatever you're drinking from it. But the fact that they're holding it and touching it, and you have held it and touched it many times, especially with clay. Whereas with the painting, they're looking at it. It's just through a sensory thing.
Would you define this feeling a feeling of success?
Oh yeah, because they'll come back and they'll say, "Oh, I've had your mug for 20 years, and I just dropped it. I need another one. That just happened this week."
They'd have to, first of all, commit, and then be dedicated to that commitment, so that you're living the life of an artist, and it doesn't stop, and then you live the life of somebody else. You're always an artist.
Whether you're making it or not.
Yeah.
You're always looking at things and seeing whatever the possibilities or the color of it.
Especially
or
if you're a producing artist, it becomes your life, and the making of your work is the most important thing to you.
Yeah.
That's the dedication part.
I've said that to so many people about you have to give up to get.
And you wouldn't be giving anything up because you want it.
I'm saying you have to give up a dinner out because you're either committed to a time schedule, or you want to make this thing, or you don't have the money for it, or whatever. That was such a shock, because you look back on those days and you say, I was a good teacher. Or was I a good teacher? I remember da-da-da, I should have done da-da-da. And all of a sudden one day, about a year and a half ago, Vince brings the mail home, and there's a package for me, and it's from Holly Scott, whatever her name is now. And I only had her for a year, and then she was graduating, going on to college, wanting to take art classes. But the letter was I told her it was so important to me because it really validated myself to me. But she was telling me how influential I was as a teacher without even realizing it. I had taught her that art becomes your life. That was really a wonderful feeling when I got that, and I felt really good about my memories of those days and who I was in that time frame.
It's always the next piece. It's not anything I've done in the past.
I always liked the last one. I think I always liked the last one I did, whatever, however many times they may have been.
Both Carolyn and I are musicians, and Carolyn's played the guitar and sung for people. I've played cello all my life.
Orchestra.
And
orchestra.
if you're also a musician and a visual artist, you really realize that art is an event, and time is part of the art. As time goes by, not only does the art change, but the performance is over, or it's due to begin, or it's in the middle. But it's always evolving as time goes by, and we're very aware of time.
You mean you're changing as you yourself are changing?
Yeah,
or
from
growing,
moment to
or
moment.
Experiences?
I mean, that's the way life is.
Yeah.
Each second that goes by, we're a different person.
Well, another thing that you and I have talked about more than once, it's not just music. We were both in sports, competitive sports. And I think that taught me more than anything. Don't get discouraged. You did your best. Try again because you can do it better. Practice and do it more times so it's more what you want. The brush is doing what you want it to do, etc. And learning how to lose, and somebody doesn't like it, no matter what you've done, no matter how good you are. And you and I have talked about that a lot.
I did a aptitude test when I was a kid, and they said you would be a politician,
A lawyer.
a lawyer, an architect, or an artist.
I probably would be teaching, because I still, with my jewelry, I always have the tag on where the beads, what kind of beads they are, where they've come from, how old are they, and all the components in a piece. And I said, people say, I really like the tags, knowing all this all about my bracelet or whatever they're buying. I said, that's the teacher in me. Joan Penfill, bless her, was a fellow teacher of mine from the early days, and she always reminded me of the fact, we went to the Detroit Art Institute, and Michael's in a stroller, and you're talking all about this painting in front. Look at the reds, or some elementary ideas. And she said, I'll never forget that. Here's this little kid, and you're telling him all about this painting that's in a museum. And so yeah, I let you have free rein regarding art a lot.
I try to be as good a listener as I can, and not do all the talking. Sometimes I go completely silent and I don't talk at all. I don't think of it as parenting. I think of it more as a friendship. What's next? Well, I have to do a metal piece for a lady for her mantle.
It's a very unusual fireplace.
And it's a plant. We decided to make a plant, perhaps like a lily flower, that was growing out of these rocks in her fireplace. We've worked on a concept that's on and off been a sculpture park that adjoins our house. So we have a piece of property that's pretty much in the National Forest and on all sides. And
it rivals Storm King, Vincent.
Well, it's like a mini Storm King. It's like
What are you working on next?
Well, encouraging Storm King Mountain here. I've been trying to clean my table off so I could find some workspace forever. And so I have to go back to jewelry because I have so many beautiful beads that I'm just dying to get put together.
Sitting with them, surrounded by art, and perhaps their next masterpiece, the mountain air drifting softly through the forest, I'm reminded that art isn't just something you create, it's a way you live. My parents taught me that through their patience, their persistence, and their practice. I'm grateful to them not just for the beauty they bring into the world, but for showing me what it means to live by heart, by hand, and by choice. This interview is just a brief glimpse of a much longer, ongoing conversation.